good evening, and welcome to Psychic That Plans Wednesday video. This is the one where I take on topics or ideas and show you how to do them in a planner system. And today we're going to cover what's called the second brain. This was something I ran across about 2 months ago, and it made sense. What it basically is 6 different journals in one. Because, if you got your gratitude journal, your 5-minute journal, your 5-second journal, your research material, maybe your self-improvement material, and you've got your regular journal, that's 6 journals. That's a lot of notebooks to fit into your morning box. And I recently moved out of a bullet journal that I was using it for because it wasn't all fitting in there, into this classic Happy Planner, which I was using it as my journal that I just rapid fire, like write down stuff that's in my mind and move on, like record the day's events and move on. And that's the first section here. The first section is actually my compass assessment, my goals. I'm getting ready to do it again. We've covered this before on this channel. That's the first section of it, is the compass assessment. This is where you do your goal setting, your goal planning. You take your time and you plan out your action steps. I'm also going to be putting my routines in here. I'm in this section once a month, maybe once a week, reflecting on my goals, not a lot. So that's the compass assessment. Joe recently printed me a new copy. I'm going to go through them, and I use the Moxie Life Goal Assessment to really see where we are in a life compass. So there's that. So that's one journal. The next journal is a Disney journal, and the reason I got a Disney journal, and I'm going to see if I were to a section I hadn't liked, is because I wanted the horizon. And I've shown you guys how to modify a journal, a planner that you aren't really happy about. And all I do is I rapidly record what happened that day. Whatever got up this morning, today was really, whatever I'm feeling, just empty it out. It's not a huge page that you've got to get that blank feeling in. It's on a blank page that, you feel like you got to fill up because, can't waste the paper just writing down today kind of sucked. Here's 5 reasons why. Okay. Then our next section is the happiness section. And this is a section we're creating out of notebook paper. So I'm going to do a cover page for it. And since, Happy Planner has been so great to provide in their sticker books, these huge stickers that you can't use anywhere in a planner unless you're using like Dashboard. I think Dashboard has a whole section of it. So this is, I'm going to use Be Good to Yourself as the decorative. And this is the happiness journal. Now, you're not writing into this journal every day. This is just moments where you find something that makes you happy. Because you have a pattern, human beings have a negative scope on things. There are times that they will get stuck in that negative thought plane. Especially in journaling, you can get very toxic and emptying out all that negative emotion. So you need a spot to write down the good stuff so that, on your bad days, you can go back and read your good stuff.
So when you make that entry that says today sucked, here's 5 reasons why, you flip over here
and you review the Easter baskets were really pretty, and Mom wouldn't even open hers until she had got her Facebook picture for it.
I know, right?
Yeah. So we're going to get a tabby thing. Actually, this doesn't have tab, so I'll tab it later. All right. So the next section is when you get into videos. I tend to watch a lot of personal development videos. I do a lot of reading in books. And I want to take notes. And I don't want those notes living in my planner.
Right.
Because it's going to change. So this is where that's going to go. So this is your capture section. You're capturing ideas. You're capturing things. You know, so this is the capture section. And I try to spend about 20 minutes in the morning just feeding my brain something to go in this section. But you have to be very careful with it. And Joe brought this up the other morning. He joined me for my morning wake up, which I enjoy when he does join me. He thinks I don't, but I do. And what video was I watching? What was I watching? And it took you a moment to realize that no, I'm not watching. I'm not nice watching this. This is now hate watching, and I'm about ready to turn it off.
Oh, that one. I'm sorry. There were a few in his you watched a few different videos in probably as many days
Mm-hmm.
that all had a problem. There was one I was sitting on the couch for. You were getting really ticked off because Warren Buffett
Oh
misquoted.
yes, misquoted Warren Buffett. Like
Yeah.
it was one of those compilation videos, and this life coach was totally misquoting Warren Buffett, like completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I am like, stop using, like, attaching to famous people bad ideas. Or
Effectively, or if that was your comprehension of it, I think you need to go watch again.
yeah, go watch him again.
As in, if this life coach watched, a Warren Buffett interview and got that from it, that was his takeaway.
Yeah.
Ooh, you need to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, and closely watch it, because Warren Buffett has some good quotes out there. And the part that pissed me off the most was there's a saying about live on 1% of your life. Well, that's 1% of your income. That's a nice soundbite. The full quote is, why I print this, save 1% of your income until you can live on 1% of your income. You're kind of halfway, dude. Oh, battery dead. Okay, so we won't be labeling today.
No label for you today.
That's okay. Joe will take care of it later. But anyway, so realize that some of the information you get out there, like videos that say you have to wake up 4 o'clock every morning, get a cold shower to be productive, to be successful, is bullshit.
Well, yes. Now the misquoting is total BS. Now some of the I think you gotta watch everything with a grain of salt, and then maybe be willing to try it once or twice and see, like, okay, does that do anything for me? Not necessarily just take everything you watch and incorporate that, because you'll drive yourself crazy. But sometimes you pick something up and go, oh,
right,
okay,
yeah,
like that might work for me, or that might be interesting. So I don't mind, like, when you're watching stuff and I'm like, that sounds insane.
Yeah,
it's like, but if you want to try that, you want to get up, and do X, Y, and Z, turn off social media and just, you're never gonna, engage because those aren't real people. Okay. Interesting. I hope that's not one you take.
That was the same video as, like, delete your social media.
Yeah.
Again, attributed. Do not delete your social media. Disconnect from your social media, and I have done that. I'm not in my social media every day, all the time, all over, replying to every post, reading every Twitter. Sorry, guys. I've got 100 things to do. I do social media 15 minutes, 3 times a day. The rest of the time, I have it, like most entrepreneurs, has it scheduled. Right. But anyway, this was my capture section. There's some notes that I'm going to be bringing over from the bullet journal that failed. Because here's the fail. And it's more of a nitpicky fail than a fail for me. but there's notes in here on. I've got stuff in the happiness journal I want to bring over. Three things that make me happy. Um, like I want to bring that over. I'll bring that note over, and then I'll take a straight edge and cut it out so that we can use this notebook again because I've not really filled it in. Like it didn't get filled up. It was like a group of pages. Um, but like building a second brain and how to do that. I'm going to put that in here. The essentials to do less better. Those are things that I'm working on for articles that will go in here. Boost your productivity. And then I've got one here about building relationships, and that's all great information that will go in here. And then, once it's done stewing up here, it may get spit back into an article or spit back into something else.
Hey, there we go.
So that's the whole.
So what was the technical fail on that one?
The technical fail we're going to get to in one of the sections.
Okay.
And it was just because it didn't give me enough room to write in.
Ah.
Because if you're capturing information, you can do 5 to 10 pages. That's okay. All right. So here's part of the part you started to watch for. And it's the what I call the power journaling. And it's combining two journaling systems. There is the 5-minute journal, and then there is the high five journal. 5-second journal and high five journal. And I've combined them because I get great things out of both of them. And this is where the technical fail happened. In the morning, you sit down, and then you notice I have it here on a note card. Joe could print me 100 pages of this. That's not what I need. That's not what your brain needs. It doesn't need to fill in the questions. It needs to actually handwrite. And you start out with the date, and if it's your morning, and that's a debate in this house, is it my morning or is it my morning is his evening. So it's your morning. 3 things you just write, I am grateful for, and you shoot off 3 things. What would make today great? 3 things. And your personal daily affirmation. Now, I post daily affirmations now. I've started doing that. So if you can't come up with one, go look at my social feeds. You'll see one. If it hits you, use it. And then the 5th one is 5 things that you want in your life, great or small. It could be, I want a cup of coffee, or I want a beach house, or I want, a better relationship with this specific person. Just 5 things you want to have in your life. Then in the nighttime, and this is where the fail happened because I took a page, because you take the back of the page, like here's the page I'm on. I actually want to do a cover page on this. Here's the page you're on. This is what I wrote this morning. Notice it's messy handwriting. That's okay. Guess what? It's not structured English either. On the back of the page is where you list the night routine. And your night journaling is 3 amazing things that happened today. And then you answer this question: how could I have made it better? So the technical fail in the bullet journal was my writing was too big for it. And I would fill almost 2 pages with the morning stuff. And I had 2 blank pages to answer these 2 questions.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I never would start out with a blank page. So, and I've just sticky noted it in here, and I will sit down when my day is over and do the night. So, let's grab paper. Put this in. So, Joe, while I'm decorating, you talk. What do you think? Because I didn't discuss the system. I started doing this system.
Well, I mean, it definitely sounds like one that's working for you, just maybe a little prolifically working for you.
All right.
In a sense that, like, for the pages, they're roughly the size of what, a 4x6,
yeah,
5x, yeah. A little too much going on for that one. So
Right.
upsizing it to 9.25 by 7
Right.
should give you ample space because that basically doubles your space.
Right.
So that should work out a whole lot better.
Okay.
Especially since the lines are a little smaller.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. It sounds like it's a workable system. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't require a lot, and especially if you don't like beat yourself up for, oh, I missed a day.
Right. And that's
Oh, I
the
didn't have
thing. When
anything.
you're building habits or you're building things and you miss days, you miss days. You just move on. You
Mhm.
miss a night, you move on.
Well, I think there's a lot of systems that it, it's their fatal flaw
Mm-hmm.
is that the system is very, building.
Mm-hmm.
And if you miss a day, you have to try to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you miss a day, you basically get penalized. Your 90-day challenge, so to
Right.
speak, becomes a 120-day challenge
Right.
or whatever. Like whatever happens if you miss a certain point, or it just becomes undoable. Like
Right.
it becomes this giant mountain of stress because you're not making up a day,
Mm-hmm.
you're making up a week.
Yeah. Or a month.
Yeah. And then it's why am I still here?
Right. Well, it's like the 75-day challenge. The 75 hard. I've looked at it. I'd want to do it. I don't have 75 days to denote to it.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't work.
Right. Well, and it's not really that you're devoting 75 days to it. You're devoting 70, well, depending upon what the 75-day challenge exactly is. If it's like this, it's usually like you have a prompt per day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it should only take a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not 75 days devoted to it. It's probably a few hours worth of time devoted to it,
Right.
but it's spread over 75 days. It's hard to find 75 days in which you're not going to have something.
Right. But no, the 75-day challenge is an eating, exercise, and mind building challenge.
Mm.
And it's like 45 minutes outside activity, an hour and a half activity inside, read for an hour a day. Um,
Yeah, I can
it's
already
like,
tell you that's going to fail.
yeah, that's going to fail. Now, I
That's going
do
to fail
do,
for most people.
right. I do some 30-day challenges. And
Mm-hmm.
they're normally creative challenges, they're normally working challenges. And that's what this back section is for because they don't live in my journal.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're here, I do them, writing exercises, that type of thing, and then we move on.
Right.
You take what you can get out of them. Like right now, I'm doing Good Morning, Good Life's 30-day challenge um, for mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not showing that, but it's a really good challenge. But it's another one that you can pick up and do 30 days straight, or you can pick up and do do 5 daily videos in one day. And I've done that because I got behind at the end of the month. The end of my month is insane.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens. So this back section will change. And there's stuff I've picked up out of it, like the chain habit.
Okay.
I don't think you've heard me refer to it, but that's what it's called. It's where I get up in the mornings, I start the washer,
Mm-hmm.
start the dryer, I grab my coffee, I sit down, I do my journaling, I do my yoga, which sets off getting a shower because the washer is done, which starts my morning. That works 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 days a week that doesn't work at all.
Oh dear.
And those are Mondays and Wednesdays. And why is because I can't get up and do that routine and get enough sleep.
True. Yeah, those are 2 days that we have other stuff going on for your morning period.
Right.
So it really is kind of roll out of bed, throw down some coffee, and get the fuck out.
Right. You know,
Like, dude, there's no nice way to put it. It's just throw down coffee, get the fuck out.
right. Well, sometimes it's like grab coffee and get the fuck out, because one of them is a 1 p.m. appointment. With me on night shift, that's a massive swing. But so 5 days a week, I do this routine. This is how this routine flows. This is what this routine does. When I switched to midnights, it took about a week and a half to get back into that flow and to get everybody and everything functioning on that flow. Mm-hmm. You know, we're still working on my evening routine. We're still working on finding my gym time. Those things happen. Those shifts happen. But that's not when you want to go and beat yourself up. So, what have you, because I've done the Power Journal for a month, what have you noticed as the spouse differently?
I don't know that I was looking for a difference.
Not looking for, noticed.
I don't know. I mean, there seems to be more of a focus on getting some things with the house done.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it seems like you're planning more long term.
Mm-hmm.
And a little more excited about that.
Right. I'm a lot more excited about that. I'm a lot more excited about longer term growth. I'm a lot more excited about seeing how things develop. In this past month, I've had an interview with an international website.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. That's links are on socials. We've gotten more focused in our business. Platforms have expanded. You know, things are getting a lot more creative.
Mm-hmm.
Things are getting, I'm getting back into my groove. I published that article that took me a month to figure out what I wanted to write and then to write it. We've done that in a week. And that's great content coming up. We're now restarting the newsletter. Go sign up on my site if you want the weekly newsletter. And that'll be going out. We started fixing issues, but it took creativity and being able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Which journaling does that. It allows me to let go.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that is one of the general things about journaling is that if you write it down, you have to quit thinking, or well, you eventually quit thinking about it.
Right.
Like you can't, like typically the idea behind journaling and its benefit is especially if you have recurrent thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't do this, I'm not good at this, I didn't do that, I'm not good at that. It's really hard to sit there and just hold on to that after you've written it down.
So what do you think of the what was classified as the second brain?
I like it. I do see why you're using a happy planner for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives you some movability instead of having the fixed, like, this is a bound thing.
Right.
And trying to go, okay, well, how much space do I really need for this versus that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see that in a bound situation going, like, it's never going to be perfect. And so you're going to, like, truncate yourself in some places and then, eventually end up with, I need a whole new journal, but half of this one is empty. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Because this section needs more.
Right.
So without getting into, I have 6 journals and I carry them all with me. Something that has expandability, like a happy planner or a 3-ring, 6-ring, 7-ring, whatever ring, is definitely the best way to go on that one. So if you were looking at that, like concept, then go expandable.
Yeah, go expandable.
If you take
the Power Journal takes a page a day.
Mm-hmm.
However, capturing, if I'm watching, I try to give myself about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
to like watch something that I'm learning something from. That could take 40 pages in a week.
Right.
Atomic Habits, I'm working my way through it because I have to take it in bite sizes. That's going to take a good bit.
True. Depending. Some videos you may watch and just be like, okay, I picked up one little thing and it's one sentence on a page.
Right.
And then you watch something else and it's like, prolific ideas. Many ideas. So many ideas.
Right.
So that goes back to that's gonna be one of the more variable ones.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you can plan out, I'm gonna take about half a page or a page front and back for this.
Right.
I can count that up and figure out, I can do this many here.
Right. Yeah. What do you think? Because you've now gone mostly digital. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the power of pen to paper?
Well, technically, I still am pen to paper.
Yeah.
It's just my pen is an Apple Pencil and my paper is an iPad with a paper feel screen protector. So it very much feels pen to paper, and actually I'm handwriting more since I ditched trying to type stuff in because that wasn't really working for me.
Right.
Because it was this weird thing. Like typing it in just wasn't the same. It wasn't visually the same. It wasn't functionally the same. It didn't do the same things for me.
Right.
So I really did have to go back to pen. In that regard, like I'm still doing it digitally. I do think there are benefits in handwriting, period. Regardless of whether you're digital or not. I know for me in some instances, it's like, I just need to do this.
Right.
I don't need to sit here and worry about formatting it.
Right.
Because sometimes it's really easy to get lost in instead of focusing on just doing it and it's a 5-minute thing, it's really easy to go, okay, now I'm going to format it and spell check it and make it look pretty on the page, and should I add, change the font and add color, and
right,
and you just kind of meander off purpose.
Right.
And so the 5-minute thing becomes a 45-minute thing, and then it's like, what did I actually do?
Yeah.
So I think there's benefits there. I think after this many years, I don't know generationally if we're going to see a moment in which there's a divider line. But I know, for us and people older than us and a few younger ones, we grew up pen and paper. So I think we're wired better to take information and store it that way.
Right. Or
because
de-store
it.
Or de-store it.
Well, to offload it,
yeah.
So that, our paper becomes like your, 6 journals in 1 second brain.
Right.
That is where we store and how we store information, and it actually moves it in our brains in a way. Because it changes that information for us.
Right.
And moves it and converts it to different parts of the brain.
Right. And it frees it up a lot of brain memory. Like, this is the whole reason I use a planner. This is the whole reason I use a journal. It's because our brains are basically 56K computers. And you need to be, if you want to think more, if you want to have more mental clarity, which I fight brain fog all the time, you want to get it out of there.
Well, yeah, because there are different places or different ways that our brain functions in storing information. And it's kind of like having, short-term memory, mid-term memory, long-term memory. Some things have no business in long-term memory. You do not need to remember that long-term. You don't need to memorize it.
Right.
No one's going to care.
Right.
You're not going to care. No one else is going to care. That's just not stuff to store in long-term storage of the brain.
Right.
Then there's midterm. It's like, I need to remember tomorrow and next week that I've got to do this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's short-term immediate memory.
Right.
Like, if you are just balancing your checkbook, you need to be able to remember that the number that, you're subtracting is the number you just, calculated. So
Right.
you need to be able to move from here to there. Like, you typed it in, you got the number, the result, and you need to move over here and remember those 6, 7, 8 digits, that kind of thing. What tends to happen is we keep trying to use that short term and the midterm,
Mm-hmm.
and we do it horribly.
Mm-hmm.
We keep trying to use short term to do things that are really better suited to midterm memory.
Mm-hmm.
But because we don't write it down, or because we don't even, we could offload the process to paper and just, it bypasses the brain a little.
Right.
So that you're not holding all that. But if you're sitting there and you're trying to remember the digits that you're copying over, and you've also got to remember that, you've got dinner in 20 minutes, and you've got to do this, and you've got to do that, and don't forget to pick up the, dog food, and just, it starts to crowd up, and you're sitting there trying to write a number, and all these other things are coming up in your head, and you just, like, for me, the moment it's getting too full is when I have to keep looking back at that number. Like, it's 6 digits with a decimal in it.
Right.
How many times should I have to look at 6 digits? Because if I'm having to look back and forth 6 times or 8 times or 10 times, I've got too much up here.
Right.
Something needs to come out and get written down so that, okay, you can forget about that now. That can go erase itself.
Right. Especially if you're trying to be in the creative space. So that's the reason I do morning. I do nightly journaling. I get better rest. I don't have a lot of repair. Like, oh, I need to get that article done. I need to get it. It kills it clears the mind when you get back into this plane, as I call it, i.e., waking up, and when you're leaving this plane, i.e., going to sleep.
Right.
And it takes 45 minutes to feed a brain some new information, because when you wake up in the morning, it's easier to remember. And this is why what you wake up to is so important. And what you go to sleep to isn't not as important. So with that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the scripting life journal. I hope you enjoyed the second brain. I've talked about it a lot, so now you see where it goes. The next episode of, I don't know, I think I'll probably do What's in Aeson's Purse next week for your Wednesday video. We'll see. I don't know, something may pop up in between now and then, and we'll go on it.
Okay, there you go.
So with that, let's thank our patrons. You guys make this possible. You guys shoot me ideas. This one was a patron idea. Show us what this is.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a barista and receive all the wonderful benefits our Patreons receive, please visit us at PCSPnetwork.com.
Good night, y'all.
Bye. Good night.